Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm Office Bloke Daz.
And collectively, we are 3 reasons you should come to the UK.
Let's see what you did there.
Yeah,
nice.
It was good, wasn't it? That's why I stalled a bit when I said my name, because the cogs were turning. Anyway,
We can hear them.
we are the Office Blokes, and we've got a Patreon page, believe it or not.
We have indeed. Go and love a page.
Go and love our,
Go and love our Patreon.
Go and love our
Patreon.
Go and love it a long
Patreon.com.
time.
I was going on to the next word a bit too quick there. Patreon.com, put in Office Blokes React. If you want to support our channel, you can do it for just £1.50 a month, which is about a couple of dollars. And at the moment, you can get 12 months for a price of 10 if you pay annually. We've got loads of block content, exclusive videos, and we've got a weekly exclusive podcast for patrons only on there as well. So go down there and check it out.
Yeah.
nowhere on the internet is that kind of value for money.
No, it's
Can't be.
ridiculous.
I mean,
Can't even get on my OnlyFans page for that.
I know.
wow.
Mike tried.
Cheap as chips.
10 reasons why you should never move to the United States.
I can't think of one reason.
Not to.
Yeah, not to. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I remember when I was moving there, everyone was going, what? Are you crazy? Everyone gets murdered in the first 4 hours of arriving. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's why they've got a population of 350 million people or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets murdered. I mean, we've touched on this on the other videos. It's so vast, and there's any climate you want. There's obviously so many different cultures sort of mixed in.
But I can't think of one reason why you wouldn't want to live somewhere else.
Yeah.
If you're not happy where you are, for example.
If you're not happy with where you are,
absolutely, yeah.
I mean,
I think the thing that keeps people in their own country, because obviously not everyone can live abroad, is maybe family and friends, isn't it?
Family,
you know,
friends,
if you've got
jobs.
kids and you don't want to leave, because of that reason. But yeah, I can't think of a reason why not. A lot of people say crime, but you get crime everywhere, don't you?
Oh,
It's not exactly more prevalent there than anywhere else.
It'd be interesting to see where this is going, because I can't think of one reason why you wouldn't want to go there.
It's obviously a bit of a clickbaity title, but it's drawn us in.
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
we'll
yeah,
get
of
into
course.
it. 10 reasons why you should never move to the United States. Let's do it.
USA! 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 USA!
We're number 28 and dropping. A nonprofit called the Social Progress Index recently came out with another ranking on world progress. And guess what? 3 countries actually dropped when it came to overall progression: Hungary, Brazil, and us. And the other 2 dropped less than we did, which means we're doing worse over the last decade than every other country in the world, people.
You can't buy Cuban cigars. There's a reason. Although I know
an
you
alternative.
can. Yeah, I know, but because someone commented on my Instagram saying, "Can you buy Cuban cigars in the UK?"
Oh, did
Like,
they
yeah,
ban him in
of
the
course.
US, did they?
Yeah.
There's a trade embargo
Trade
on
embargo.
Cuba, isn't
Still
there?
on?
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't realise that was still going.
Yeah, but they're sat on the desk of all high-ranking politicians and stuff, aren't they?
Are they?
A load of Cubans.
Black market, yeah.
Does that surprise though? Maybe not when you look around and see the challenges we have in our country today. Our kids are struggling, our adults are overweight and drugged out. There's a
come on,
political
mate.
divide we haven't seen in a long time. And meanwhile, we're distracted by our phones and reality TV. The data points to an alarming picture of the state of our nation, said one really smart person. It's like we're a developing country, and that is just sad. Despite our enormous wealth, military power, and cultural influence, we're coming up in last place. We're like the entitled rich kid who keeps failing in class. Today, we're going to look at the world rankings and talk about things that we do right, but spend most of our time talking about the things that we do wrong, because we have some issues big time in America. But that's no surprise, right?
He's just showing off, running through the snow backwards, isn't he? Not even breaking a sweat.
I remember being sat in a business meeting, and we brought this analyst in, and she was banging on. There was loads of us in the meeting, and she was banging on about what we're doing wrong. And it was my department that was kind of like getting hit on the head.
Yeah.
But we were the most successful department in the company.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, I'm going to stop you there. I said, can you tell us what we're doing right? And she went, I don't know. I said, well, why are we the most successful department in the company? And all you're telling us what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
I said, what about telling us what we're doing right? And then we can incorporate what we're doing right into what we're doing wrong and make the wrongs right.
Yeah.
I said, you're just putting us down at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not constructive, is it? If you
She
just
started
point
banging in the end. I
out
just went, you know what? Fuck this. I'm off. And I stood up out the meeting and walked out.
Yeah.
And I went, she's an arsehole on the way out. And I took all the team out with us.
You didn't all get fired, did you?
No, we were the boss.
Fair enough.
Not the same America. We're not the same America. We're not the same America.
Right down my ear.
Yeah.
We're not the same America. No way. So before we get into the metrics to talk about how depressing things are here, we should go over the final results. Of all big developed nations, Norway came out on top, followed by Denmark, Finland, and New Zealand. Many African nations came out on the bottom. We ranked 28th after having slipped from 11th a decade ago. We now rank behind significantly poorer countries like Estonia, Cyprus, Greece, and the Czech Republic. But we dropped more than anyone else. If this were to continue, the US would be on par with those African nations one day. Now this isn't going to be very fun, but let's just rip off the Band-Aid and get started with this stuff.
One breakfast, Jack, and hurry.
I want to know what the metrics are that he's talking about, because all he's doing is showing us a table saying we're dropping down. It's like, well,
Progress.
What progress in what
Yeah,
field?
what they're using to gauge it
Is
by.
it GDP growth? Is it like
I think
happiness
it's social, wasn't it? So I
metrics?
think it must be like jobs,
crime.
mustn't it? And must be like jobs, crime, schools, I guess, and wages, things like that. I don't know.
It's so vast, isn't it? If you don't nail it down to specific
Oh,
things,
yeah,
it
of course,
could be anything.
Check, Jack in the box. We're really cooking now.
One big reason for our poor showing in our world rankings is our health and nutrition. As a nation, we lead the world in medical technology, but we're 97th in access to healthcare. We have health statistics similar to people in Chile, Albania, and Jordan. If you compare the US to the world's 11th richest nations, the US spends far more on healthcare, but the outcomes are last. That means access to healthcare, efficiency of our medical system, and equity across different income groups is terrible. The Affordable Care
I've heard that stat before that per capita they spend double what we do, but we have the NHS,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it doesn't seem to stack up, does it?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it works, healthcare over there. I know you have to have healthcare insurance, don't you?
Healthcare
But
insurance, yeah. But a lot of companies provide it.
Yeah,
oh, do they?
yeah, but that's how much the government spend per person, which is double what ours spends,
Yeah.
and we have national health.
Yeah.
But
But we
everyone
also have
still
private
has
healthcare as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to have the option. And
Yeah.
in the States, they've got some public healthcare as well, haven't they? They had that Obamacare, didn't they?
Yeah, I
was,
don't know if it's still around. I'm not sure. Someone off the cells on that. I'm not sure how that works.
Act in 2010 was supposed to provide relief in terms of cost and access, but sadly, it's been statistically proven that countries with nationalized medical systems outperform us on all healthcare measures. Plus, a lot of us are overweight, but we know that already. We rank 11th in the world in terms of obesity rates and first among all developed nations, unless you count Kuwait. When you look at mental health, we're winners again. And by that I mean losers. The World Health Organization says we have the third highest depression rates in the world after China and India. The share of Americans who report that every day is a bad mental health day has doubled over the last 25 years.
Wow.
Rising distress and despair are a largely American phenomenon, not observed in other advanced countries. And since the pandemic, our depression rates have tripled. In terms of suicide rates, the US isn't crazy high. We rank 34th in the world for suicide rates per capita, but it's going up fast, pal. Our nation's suicide rates are up 30% since the year 2000 and up 50% among girls and women. And you can bet social media has a lot to do with that.
This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Who taught you how to do this stuff?
You, all right? I learned it by watching you.
Parents who use drugs have children who use drugs.
We're a country of stimulants, we are. Drug, alcohol, and prescription medication use is climbing. We've been in an endless war on drugs, but as a country, we consume more than 5% of all illegal drugs in the world. Just our country alone. And drug use is up in this nation by more than 8% over the last 20 years. An estimated 1 in 10 kids in the USA lives with a parent who has an alcohol problem. Alcohol use is only up a teeny bit, so at least there's that. And the good news is that with teens, it's down a lot. Kids these days don't drink and smoke and experiment like they did when we were kids. Yay, kids. But prescription drug use is up since 2000. Overdose numbers are skyrocketing, especially when you look at synthetic drugs. And total yearly deaths from all of this has more than doubled in the last 20 years.
McGruff here. See that guy? He's stealing that bike. Now, see that lady?
Like
She's calling the cops. Mimi Marth, part of the Eyes and Ears Patrol in Hartford, Connecticut. Take a bite out of crime.
Now, what about crime? Well, when you measure violent and property crime, we're about middle of the road, but a majority of countries have a lower homicide rate than we do. But crime and safety has been a real concern in 2020, as large cities have been overrun with a spike in shootings and vandalism. Shrinking police budgets have only made the problem worse. We lead the world in percentage of people locked up, and we spend by far the most on keeping people behind bars. More than 2 million Americans are in prison alone, and that's not even in jails. So basically the entire population of New Mexico is in prison, at least comparatively. Of course, we have a ton of jerks who do deserve to be in jail, but are we doing something wrong? A lot of other countries are educating, counseling, and treating our criminals' addictions and helping them transition into the job sector. Not us.
Our nation's crime has dropped a lot over the last 30 years.
That's right, and so is crime around the world. Why is that, Mappy?
One study says because the world's population is getting older.
Huh, well that makes sense, Mappy. You get an A. Older people are less likely to commit crimes. At least for the most part.
Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president, Ike for president. You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington.
On the freedom metric, we
should definitely have adverts like that for politicians.
I think so.
Yeah, go back to that, definitely. I wonder what Boris's would be like.
You can only wonder.
In sharing political power among all citizens, we rank a shameful 100th in the world when it comes to discrimination against minorities. While anyone is capable of reaching the American dream, and clearly anyone can rise to power within our political system, it's still skewed towards one demographic. Our First Amendment rights are being taken away now too. If you say the wrong thing on social media, you'll get ostracized, or fired from your job, or even assaulted. Cancel culture is taking over America right now. And politicians can take away our rights with one stroke of a pen, and they're doing that right now.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
There's your answer.
Ah, yeah.
The Dave Chappelle bit.
Yeah.
About the tear on the Indian.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Well spotted.
I've seen a parody of it then.
Right.
I've not seen that.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So I think it may be like a cartoon version of it that I've seen.
Yeah, straight from hate people who litter.
It drives me mad.
It's one of my massive pet hates.
There's no need for it, is there?
Nope.
So unnecessary and so fucking trampy, isn't it?
It bothers me to the highest levels.
Yeah.
I'd rather let a cyclist out in front of me.
That must be bad.
I hate to say it, but it's usually
I'll make him eat it.
It's usually young lads. Like you see him at McDonald's drive-through with a girl in the car, and then
you get loads
chuck it out the window, and it's always a young lad. That does
the amount
it,
of times you go to car parks and you like say Sunday, Saturday morning, you see McDonald's wrappers and cartons and drinks cases everywhere. Absolute
I mean, I've never at McDonald's at like 11 o'clock at night anyway, but if I was, and I saw someone drop it out of the car, the whole bin's going in his car. Everything. I'll collect the bins up and I'll take him out and I'll empty every single one in his car.
Yeah.
I will.
They'd absolutely deserve it and all. Here's a wine.
Or get them out,
and
then I'll make him eat it
in
the car.
It's lack of education, isn't it? I mean,
I hate it.
It's just arrogance. I don't think it's lack of education. I think it's just arrogance. It's people being a dick.
We should probably get a big fat C when it comes to our environmental score. We rank first in greenhouse gas emissions. We only have the world's 40th best water supply. But in terms of overall pollution, when you measure chemicals in our water, the contamination in our soil, and particulate matter UGM3, whatever that means, we're super good, like almost at the bottom. Yay us.
I'm a volunteer for the environment. I'm going to clean up some trash one day.
Wait, you are a volunteer or you're going to be a volunteer?
Both. I have a good soul.
I don't think you can say that about yourself, Karen. I think other people need to say that about you. So weird. She's crazy. Education-wise, it's all over the place. We rank number 1 in the world for quality of our universities, but we rank 91st in the world when it comes to access to quality basic education. Our kids get an education roughly similar to what kids in Uzbekistan and Mongolia get, and that's not good. How do our kids compare to the kids across the world? About average. In reading, we're 11th in the world, and in science, we're close to that. But our math scores are middle of the road. Latvian and Czech Republic kids are smarter at math than we are. But you can't blame our schools as much as you can our family structure. Research has shown that 60% of school success is determined by an American kid's upbringing. Bad family structure, poor living conditions, and rough neighborhoods matter 6 times more than the quality of the teacher or the school itself. Well, we know it's not our household incomes holding our kids back. After all, we're the 6th wealthiest overall when it comes to average household wealth. So it has to be our family values which are the main cause for our school failures. One big thing stands out here: family structure. It's estimated that 2% of US kids have a parent in prison, which is crazy high. That's like 1 in 50 kids. 2-parent families have been proven to have a significant impact on a kid's success. Here in America, we have a high level of early marriage couples, and in a majority of US states, kids can still get married before the age of 18. The divorce rate among US households is going down over time, but we still rank 5th in the world for divorce rates at about 46%. Why? Well, Americans...
It's Luxembourg, 87% for divorce rates.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
87%?
That's insane, isn't
Yeah,
it?
but do you know what? It's in modern day, it's an irrelevant stat.
I suppose it depends how many people are getting married in the first place, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because not everyone gets married. Maybe in Luxembourg, it's the norm that everyone gets married, and that's why so many more people get divorced.
But it's not. I think it's just. I think it's just an outdated thing of marriage.
I agree.
You don't have to get married anymore like you used to back in the old days.
Oh yeah, it's more socially acceptable.
And it's easy to get divorced now, and it's more accepted to get divorced. That's why the rates are higher. So it's an irrelevant stat for me.
Yeah,
makes no sense.
I think they used to make it a lot harder to be divorced or get divorced, didn't they? But
going back to what you were saying before about our children are less educated than someone like in Uzbekistan or wherever else. Yeah, I get that. They might be going through different. They're not as good at maths as people from Uzbekistan. It's not competition. Number one, right? And number two, you're talking about a minority of population against the majority of a population.
Yeah,
right. And no one lives the Uzbek dream. You know what I mean?
Why shouldn't they be good at maths in Uzbekistan anyway?
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
you can be good at maths anyway.
Can't yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's been very.
It's also. I think it's sort of insinuating it's a poor country. Correct. We should be. Yeah. We're bigger, and so we should be better. But it's not necessarily the case, is it?
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. You know, like. Yeah, and what's up with Uzbekistan? They could have an amazing education system for all you know.
Yeah.
I don't know the first thing about
good at maths. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose America being a land of opportunity though as well.
That's what I was going to allude to in a minute.
You don't need to be necessarily good at one specific metric that people in other places do.
Maybe other countries.
There's 1,000 other things you can.
Other countries, there's probably a lot more riding on it, isn't there? So maybe they try harder and they are better at school.
Yeah,
industry is bigger in USA than it is in Uzbekistan, and there's more chance of a livelihood in the USA than there is in Uzbekistan. But he's not mentioned these yet in these stats.
Yeah, how many sort of rich sports stars are there in Uzbekistan?
Probably quite a few in Uzbekistan.
Yeah, I know,
but nowhere near what there is from what
yeah.
opportunity bring. If you're good at basketball, if you're the best at basketball in the world, you're not, and you're Uzbeki, you're not playing in the Uzbekistan NBA league.
Yeah,
you're in the NBA, USA NBA.
Of course, yeah.
But you know, I kind of get the reason I said that about the sports is because there's not just like Uzbekistan might be football or soccer.
Yeah.
Whereas in the States, you might have 10 different sports that have got loads of high-profile millionaires. You don't need to be good at maths to be a pro skateboarder, to be a pro baseball player.
But what I'm saying though, and there is what I'm alluding to here with this guy is what he's saying is, we're flying out. Here's 10 reasons never to move to the USA. But I'm the best at basketball, mate. That's where but you don't want to live there because they've got better in Uzbekistan. There's better people with maths who understand maths better than what there is in the USA. So you're better off staying in Uzbekistan and playing your basketball, mate.
Yeah. Move to the States and learn how to count up to 1 million. That's all you need to know.
In the world for divorce rates at about 46%.
That Luxembourg one is
Why?
insane,
Well, Americans can legally marry so young these days, and divorces are much easier to navigate through now. And the social stigma of a divorce in the U.S. no longer exists. And parents are distracted by trying to get ahead, by trying to please others, and by social media and TV. We have, apparently, the highest rate of kids living in single-parent households of all other nations. Almost a quarter of U.S. kids under the age of 18 live with one parent and no other adult.
They were 23%, we were 21%.
21, wasn't it? Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
But obviously my kids are in a single parent household, aren't they?
But they have both parents.
They have both parents, and
Yeah.
they're 50-50 between the two, but it's two single parent households.
Well, in your case, you had 2 single parents, but other people whose parents split up, then their parents remarry, so then they have 4 parents.
yeah. So there can be,
Yeah, can
there
do,
can
yeah.
be
Sort of thing.
benefits
Could
to
be
it.
benefits to it as well, yeah.
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 So it's just a stat that looks on single parent household means that all the parents are divorced or split up.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. It's
I grew up with, obviously, my parents being together till I was early 20s, and it was the 4 of us were a really solid unit, and I think it benefited me in a lot of ways, and there's other ways it held me back in some ways because I was so one-track minded about this family unit. I wasn't that good at rolling with the punches. I hadn't experienced moving house in my life up until I was 19, I think it was. So there's loads of things you can experience when things change and
It's a bit of a strange one to bring up, really, is it single parent families? I mean, say if I wanted to move there next week, I mean, it'd have absolutely no bearing on me wanting to move to America whatsoever.
Well,
I mean, why would I care?
Loads of MILFs.
Exactly. It'd make me work what going on, wouldn't it?
Yeah, precisely. So that's why you pay
No, you
attention.
know what I mean?
To
It's,
I'm moving to Luxembourg.
which is 3 times higher than the world average. So maybe the eroding American family structure is setting up our kids for failure. Chasing the American dream puts undue stress on Americans. We work way too many hours. 1 in 10 Americans works more than 50 hours a week, which is the 10th highest rate in the world. And our system of support for working parents is weak. Companies in a lot of other countries give far more paid leave for new parents and much more vacation time and sick time than we do. And then there's this. Both parents work full-time in nearly half of all U.S. households, and that's up from 31% in 1970. And those are only the households where there are 2 parents at home. And still, nearly a third of kids in our country live in poverty, people. If you're not out there sitting in traffic trying to get ahead in America, there's a decent chance you're also struggling or homeless. Homelessness in our country is going down for the most part, although in some of our major cities it's skyrocketing in places like New York, LA, Seattle, and Portland. More than 500,000 Americans sleep without shelter each night. All of this, all of the problems that we've talked about so far, it's been going on forever. They predate our current administration and have grown under the leadership of both parties. Of course, we're trying to fix things all the time. Kids are being asked to exercise more in school, and laws are passed banning certain foods. There's a war on drugs, like we said earlier. Schools are constantly tweaking things to improve scores and involvement. New homeless programs are developed to try to help house people and transition them more effectively. And new laws hit the books to regulate emissions and pollution. But are we succeeding? I mean, maybe the problem isn't the laws and programs and initiatives. What if the problem is us? You can't change laws and make changes to the way a country runs and expect change unless the people change with it. And you can't change people unless they want to change people. Maybe the reason we're falling behind other nations isn't the way we run our country. Maybe it's the people in it, the way we act and behave, and the choices we make. Face it, the American society is kind of broken right now. Now, earlier I did an optimistic video where I called America the best country on earth, but that was mostly just nationalistic pandering. Look, I fly the flag high and proud myself, but facts are facts. We have a lot of things that we're doing wrong. I mean, sure, we're rich and we're proud, but are we nice to each other? Are we complacent? Do we even give a crap anymore? I mean, have Americans thrown in the towel? And don't be so sad. Smile. We're gonna be okay. Probably. Maybe. We're kind of bad. It's kind
I can't listen to
Yeah, I
him
don't
sing
listen
again.
to him singing.
I
Definitely.
just can't
That's
do
one
it.
reason why I won't go to America. I heard him on the microphone.
What's his
one
name?
evening.
What's his name, Dave? What's the channel called? Nick Johnson.
Don't sing, Nick. Don't sing, Nick.
Yeah. I think he's got some valid points, but I think what you've got there is a lot of them are social perception, where it's changed now, and social media and reality TV, which he touched on there, is massive in the USA. It's huge, and everybody wants to be a star. So everybody's kind of clambering over people to be, they're forgetting people, leaving people behind, and moving on with themselves.
See, it's the easy option to try and get stardom and fame and money and...
Not just that, I think it's just that it's a me sort of like mentality of, look at me, I'm going to do this, and I don't care about my kid or my husband or my wife or my mother, whoever it may be, and I don't care about that job, I'm going to go to that job, and there's no loyalty as such. And I think that's just not the USA, that's developed countries.
I think so, 'cause you can see a lot of that stuff over here, can't you?
And a lot of other countries are improving, because they're not sort of like, they haven't got the same social media platforms as what we've, what we're exposed to, or the other way. And that's generally, he alluded to it when he said about suicide or depression and things like that. You're going to get it. It brings, because people, if you're reading something, it happens on here on YouTube. Someone say, Office Bloke Daz is a wanker. I don't go home and go,
that was me.
Yeah, no, that was you. Yeah. I don't go home and go, I'm so upset. But some people,
Dave.
Some people would. Some people get really offended by something like that.
It hurt people.
It hurt people a lot in the way that their mind will be racing with an insult or someone who's mean. But it's fucking millions of people out there mean and cruel and stuff like that. Millions and millions of them.
People have got, with social media these days, people have got a platform for it, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'd never been on social media, because of all the, I heard all the shit that goes on. But personally, like you, I mean, if someone did send a message like that to me, I wouldn't give a shit. It wouldn't affect me.
But I like it if they come face to face with me and say, "You're a wanker," and I'll go, I won't clout them or anything. I don't know. I'll just say to them, "Why do you think that? Why do you think I am?
Why do you think?
Because you say, and I'll shoot you." No, but that's a society. It's all social perception and people saying the right thing, going on marches and saying, "Oh, look at me on protest. Look at me. I think with the climate of the world's changing." Yet they'll go home and they'll turn all the electrics on and get their iPad out while they're on the phone on the laptop watching the massive big screen TV.
Themselves in it, having themselves seen at the march and saying, "This is what I did," and then when they go home, and completely contradicts themselves straight away.
Which he went to when he had that little Karen, I'm going to be a volunteer.
Yeah,
you are. Or are you going to be?
Yeah,
and that's what he said. It was right. You know?
He's been a bit self-deprecating there, but he's framed it in a way that's like, we can be better. Let's address the issues we may have. So it's kind of positive as well. But something I thought was interesting is you talking about social media and like aspirations to be a star or all this sort of stuff. Yeah. Loads of Western developed nations have that as well.
Exactly, that's what I said.
And have access to the exact same social media, the exact same reality TV shows, but have completely different metrics. So there's got to be a lot of cultural stuff in there as well. It's how people respond to all these opportunities.
Go back to what we were saying as well about the vastness of the USA. You know, it's the size of North America. You know, you take into Canada and Mexico as well. You got a hell of a mindset of people that stretch a vast majority. You know, we don't think the same as the Italians think, and we don't think the same as the Russians think. Yeah, no one does, but. You know, it's unless you're buying Adidas tracksuits. But what you've got is you've got to sort of like single out that style. There's more positives to go to live in America that far outweigh the negatives by a long way.
Yeah, and you know you've been there.
Yeah, 10 reasons never to go to the USA. I think I can give you 100 reasons to go.
Yeah. And you could think of 10 reasons not to go to any country, probably, couldn't you?
10 reasons not to go out the door today.
Yeah,
exactly. Not to walk back out that door.
Yeah.
It's clickbaity, but
he's obviously done a video that's why America's the best country, and that's what he alluded to there. He's done this one. There's a bit of balance,
you know. So it's not all. Of course.
Which I do get, but I think because it's so vast and there's so many different cultures, you could pick and choose whatever culture you wanted, whatever sort of climate you wanted, and you'd find your paradise.
To put into context, there, right? Let's talk about, say, the World Cup, the Soccer World Cup, right? If I said, right, I'm going to do one or two things. I'm going to host it in the USA in Los Angeles at the Sophie Stadium, right? That's where I'm going to, or I'm going to put it in, I don't know, what's the capital of Uzbekistan, Almaty or wherever, right? In Uzbekistan. I want the people of Uzbekistan to go cope with it for the World Cup coming there, and I want the people of the USA to cope with it coming there. Already the infrastructure's better. The intelligence of the people to cope with a mass influx of people, of millions and millions of people coming into the country, the airport structure, everything that goes about it is all in place already. You try and put that in place, but you've got better mathematicians, so figure it out. You can count the money that's needed to get in there, and then you've got to also get the financing in place to put it all together. You can't, but you're the cleverest. Yeah, exactly. I'd rather go and have it in America every time. Put it in America.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely know what you mean on that one.
Well.
Thanks for thinking about that one.
Sound like an American here, don't we?
You're sort of half-hour, really, aren't you? The amount of years you've been there.
Well, your kids are.
Yeah, that's right.
But, it's an interesting video, though, definitely. Put some really good points.
Yeah.
There's pros and cons to absolutely everywhere.
Of course,
I think a sense of pride of who you are and where you come from and stuff is important for the success of a country.
Yeah.
So be proud to be an American, be proud to be an Uzbekistani.
Absolutely.
Wherever you're from, and that's the only way you're ever going to develop where you're from and make it better is, you know, your sense of pride and community and everything.
But I always think about the same people where you get the migration people that come into the UK, you get them going into the USA and they go, we hate America, we hate Britain. What the fuck are you doing here then, mate? I'll quite happily pay for a ticket for you to fuck back off to wherever you want to go, right? But don't criticise me and what we're here, what we're about, and our policies and everything we've got. If you're just going to come to the country and criticise, don't be here.
I do think because American culture is exported around the world so much, it's easy to hate because people will go, they'll open a newspaper, like some old ladies in this country, and go, "There's been another high school shooting in America." Happens all the time. And it's like, it's just these kind of key headlines that people get exposed to so much because so much of their culture gets exported. Whereas you don't look and go,
there's been another medicine developed in California or wherever it may be.
It's always bad news, isn't it, that goes worldwide, so it's the bad side of things, I suppose, isn't it?
Adversely, I don't know what the murder rate is in Paris, for example, but then
you don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, true, but then we get told, Detroit has got it's like murder capital and all this sort of stuff. But, you could...
Listen, if I give you 2 tickets, right? One's to Tegucigalpa and one's to Detroit. Which one are you taking?
I'd probably go to Detroit. I think I'd fit in better.
Exactly. Right?
I think so,
Yeah, but again, it's like anywhere. That's just an example, Detroit. I know it's got its problems and there's lots of poverty and shut down factories. I'm sure there's nice bits as well, though.
You go to Tegucigalpa?
I don't even know.
Let us know in your comments where you go. Hope you guys like that too. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.